Good morning, everyone. Lovely sunny Sabbath morning. Anyone have their fireplace cranked up last night? We did, yeah, a few hands. Even the cat came and enjoyed our fire. Let's start with prayer. Thank you, Father, for another lovely Sabbath morning. We come here to praise and worship you and enjoy time and fellowship together. We ask these things in your name. Thanks. We'll see if the ring's gone. Okay, this morning for our mission program, we've got Naomi Turnbull. Yeah, she's come to, she's the registrar, she tells me. She's no longer the principal at the school that they run at Vanuatu. And she says she keeps the place together and makes sure everything happens. Naomi, I'm sure you've got a lot to tell us. So, just as a note, the second plane flies out next week on Wednesday. Mark is going to fly it from the Gold Coast straight out to Port Vila in one hit. So apparently they've taken all the seats out and put in a big petrol tank in the back of the plane, and away it'll go. So if you can remember Mark, please, at 6:10, I think it is. As soon as the sun gets up, he's allowed to fly. Wednesday morning, and we'll hand over to you, Naomi.
All right, good morning, everyone. They said it's easier if I come up here to balance the iPad. So I'm not going to preach, but just got some more things to share. Thanks for inviting us back again. Mark is still down south with the plane. I think they're going to be working on a few last-minute things tonight before the engineers fly back to the US tomorrow morning. They have to depart at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to their appointment to fly back. So they've been working hard on the plane. So last time we were here, we heard the bad news about what happened to the little plane called Lima. And we were asking for prayers, and it's been quite amazing how the Lord has blessed and flipped this thing upside down completely back in a way that we didn't expect. So the Lord has been really good and has provided us with a different plane to keep us going in our mission work out there. This one is called Charlie. So Charlie has just had some modifications done on it in the last 3 weeks. These blue strips you see along the wings and the wingtips, it's had some things added. I don't know all the technical wording for it, but to make it more appropriate for short takeoff and landing, because Mark lands in short airstrips in the bush in Vanuatu. So that's all been done and should be ready to go. I think he'll be flying back up this way either Sunday afternoon or Monday. And then I fly back to Vanuatu with Natalia and Mariah on Air Vanuatu on Tuesday, and Mark, hopefully, will be flying this little plane here all the way to Vila on Wednesday, if the weather is good. So we're hopeful for that. So he's just requesting your prayers for him on Wednesday. It's a long journey across the water, and he does have a life raft and life vests that he'll be wearing as he goes, but we hope they're not necessary. Yesterday I shared a message. I sent a voice message to all my students there in the school. You can see the principal standing up here. That's Simeon. And he got them all to pray. They're praying especially for Dr. Mark as he flies the little white pigeon, as they call it now. The former plane was called the red pigeon. Now this one, they're naming it the white pigeon. So they're all excited. And it was in the news, apparently. I got sent a little notice of something that was printed in the local newspaper in Bislama, saying about white pigeon blolman toba by Hemikambaklo Wednesday. So it's kind of quite well publicized now. And things are still going ahead with the wellness ministry. I think last time when Mark was here, he mentioned what Bruce has been preparing. He prepared the digger, which has already landed safely in Santo probably a month or two ago now, and it's waiting for us to get back and organise for it to get from Santo up to Gower on another ship. So those kind of ships are the ships that send everything that people donate and give here in Australia. It arrives there in the wharf in Santo, and then we have someone to help us get it off the wharf onto another small copper boat, and then it gets taken up to Gower and offloaded in a little aluminium boat, and often gets wet and doesn't always arrive quite in the shape you would hope. Okay, there's Bruce with the digger. And Bruce is still busy now. He's preparing a four-wheel drive, which is going to come in the next shipment. So we'll have a vehicle over there as well, which will be a great blessing. All these 18 years, we've never had a proper vehicle apart from a four-wheeler, a quad, and now we have an eight-wheeler all-terrain vehicle. But they're not quite as good as they were advertised because we keep on doing the wheel bearings in as we go over the rough terrain. So we've had quite a few issues with our wheels on the eight-wheeler. So at the moment, Kay's over there with no wheels and she's just walking around doing things because none of the vehicles are working properly and there's nobody over there at the moment to help her to fix them. So she's been trying her best to change the wheel bearings and things from what she learned from Neelis while he was there. And she's been able to do that a few times, but it's got to a point now where it's just not working well. So anyway, here's the school. The school is growing bigger and bigger as each year goes by. And I'm so happy to see Joel Masters here today. That was a really pleasant surprise to see Joel. Joel spent, how long were you with us, Joel? About 4 months with us out there. And he knows this school grounds very well. He was doing our beautification around the school grounds and weeding, and Joel was a great blessing. We really missed Joel. And so that was a recent photo just taken when I flew back just a few weeks ago in May. So we have about 100 students there with us now and 12 teachers. So it's growing and growing, and there's a lot of kids on the waiting list to come in next year. We can never accept all the kids that would like to come. We always have to screen them, and some we say, sorry, we don't have space. So the need for a classroom is definitely growing. Now, this girl here on the far right, some of you may remember her face. That's Jeanette Bice. She came here with Faureen, the lady on the left. She was deaf. Those of you who remember, she was here staying with Kimberly Davey. She is now in Year 10 and preparing for her Year 10 exam. So this is another big challenge we're facing this year to help her get through a national exam without hearing. And I've been down to the SPD and they're trying to help me with some sign language tutoring to help her through this. So just another little aspect to the school is our special needs. We have 7 deaf children this year, and Faureen is struggling to keep up with the demands as they get higher and higher in their education. Faureen is struggling, and we need extra help with them to get more training in the sign language. So if you know of anybody who knows Auslan, who may be willing to come over and help tutor at some time, we'd be most glad to know about them because, the needs are growing in the deaf area as well in our school. So I'll hand over to Ben now. Thanks, Ben and Yana, for coming to help out this morning. And he's got some more to share about the needs for the classroom. Thank you, Ben.
Good morning, Logan Reserve Church family. How nippy has it gotten this week? It's under 10 degrees. And for single digits for Queenslanders is, of course, it's horror territory where you don't want to get out of bed anymore and go to work or do anything. Thank God that He's with us in the cold and in whatever we face in life. It's really nice to get an update from Naomi. We haven't been over on Gower ourselves for the last 6 months. We came over for a furlough in December and we've been here ever since. We're trying to get Yana's citizenship and that's finally come through, praise God. But we're really glad to share a little bit this morning about the building program over there at Matafunga SDA School. It is a little primary school that's expanding up to Year 10 and then eventually maybe to high school. And it is on a remote island. I don't know if Naomi shared how far we are from everything, but we're a good couple of hours flight from the main island of Santo. And yes, it's quite remote, and all the wonderful children over there don't have the same opportunities that they would have on a main island or over here in the west. So I'm just, how am I clicking through this, Naomi? Sorry. Okay, great, thanks heaps. So in 2020, when my family was called over to Gower to continue work with young men, to take over from Scott Stevenson. I don't know if, does anyone know Scott Stevenson that was over there teaching woodwork and a little bit of building and maintenance? He had taken some young men under his wing that went through school and weren't continuing with schooling but wanted to do something in the trade field. And in 2020, Mark and Naomi called us over to go and to basically form a construction team. And we started this new classroom which you just saw. And these are some of the current members of the team who are doing maintenance while they're waiting for me to get back. Some wonderful people there who continue the work. This is what the classroom looked like in 2020. The school was expanding, and they basically had to take all the sheets of iron and whack them up on some poles for a temporary classroom. I forget which class that was, Naomi. Yeah, right. So that was for the higher levels in the primary school for the ACE classes. And so they were there in the wind and the rain. And we got there in early 2020, just before the flight shut down for all the lockdowns. And so did a team here from the Southeast Queensland area. It wasn't a church, but we had a fly and build team of some wonderful people that had supported the project in the past. And they came over and they helped us to kickstart the first large double classroom. And this is what the project looked at like starting off. And I think they were with us for a couple of weeks. It was supposed to be. It ended up being a month because they almost didn't get back to Australia because of the flight shutdowns. We ended up coming back in a military plane, actually. They did. But they helped us to stand all of the walls and to get the trusses up. And this building was really badly needed. The primary school does have a few classrooms. I think there were 2 permanent classrooms built, and also another one which is called a Natangura classroom, which is a local style. But this new double classroom basically acted like 2 classrooms with a dividing wall that opened up to become also a large hall, which was the first hall that the school had that could be used for functions and for graduations. And it also had a little staff room and office on the end of it, and a little computer room to do all the printing and to store all of the materials. Okay, that's fair enough. So we really do feel like it's providential that this opportunity has arisen to do another fly and build after 3 years' time. The school continues to expand, and there is a need for another double classroom, as a lot of the classes are sort of pressing together and meeting in temporary shelters. We've had to extend the life of some local buildings which are actually falling apart and rotting and leaking. So we really appreciate that Logan Reserve Church has approved to have a project to come and do a fly and build. We're going to have a meeting after the service, it's my understanding, in the teens room, is it? So if you're interested in this fly and build project, the timeline is for about mid-next year. So we're talking June, July next year, most probably. And that's about a year off now. So if you're interested, please come and see us after the service, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. And we'll go from there and be planning, obviously, pretty seriously into the end of this year to make that happen. So thank you for your support, and we know you're very active as a church. You do a lot of local outreach and activities, and so really appreciate you being willing to put yourself out there and to reach out and help us in this project with another building. Thank you so much.
I forgot to say something this morning. I wanted to say a big thank you to Logan Reserve Church on behalf of everyone of us that work out there in Matavanga at the school and in all the work we're involved in. Thank you for your incredible support. You're the only church that's given a big donation like that as a church body. There's been individuals supporting us from all various churches, but Logan Reserve Church has definitely stepped out there and really put their foot out and really helped in a big way. So we want to say thank you for all of you and your support. The decisions that were made on the board meeting, business meeting, a big heartfelt thank you to all of you. And those of you too who donated, Lorna's been in contact with me, and some gave clothing, some gave stationery and little gifts that we can share with the students. They'll be really happy when all that arrives in the next shipping container. It'll be like a big Christmas present for everyone out there. So thanks again for your incredible support, and we look forward to seeing you all, hopefully, those of you who are planning to come to Gower next year. It will be great to have you all there. Thanks.